Welcome to Hidden SQuiDZ Gaming. Today we're going to examine the third level of the darkest dungeon. Make sure you bring along plenty of food, torches, and shovels are not important. Instead, bring more bandages, antidotes, or medicinal herbs. The herbs will help you against the debuff of the mammoth cyst in the dungeon. In the description below is a map of the whole level provided by Mr.Bunnyban. In the description below is what you're going to follow me along with if you get lost and you cannot take the path I did, which is most likely what's going to happen because I got teleported. The optimal path, or at least amount of fights, goes as follows. Right, down, down. If you follow that in the game, you'll be able to see what that means. I took a different path that was more geared for my party. However, if you want the least amount of fights and you don't care about the composition of the enemies, you take that path if you don't get teleported. You will fight one mammoth cyst outside of the one that you'll fight for the final boss of the area. Obviously, the white cell stalks will teleport you, and we'll talk about their functions later in the video. I made this video in 1.5 speed to save time, so the voices and sounds are going to sound funny at moments, but I didn't want this to be a 20-minute video since it could be done in 10 minutes. Quickly going over the party comp I have, I used the Hellion mostly for Iron Swan, so they could destroy the white cell stalks every single fight. It doesn't happen, obviously, since I get teleported, but that was the idea, and it worked very well for the most part. The leopard is there for pure DPS on the mammoth cyst. The mammoth cyst has a 25% protection, which is going to need a lot of damage to get through that. That isn't dot damage. I didn't rely on dot damage. This is a crit heavy build, which the leopard enables himself to do with his skills along with his campfire abilities. The jester can be used for burst with a final finale. However, I used him for the song. The song gives you more accuracy, higher crit, and more speed. This will hopefully ensure that you get to those white cell stalks before they can make their turn and destroy them. This isn't always true. The game is still RNG dependent. However, it does make that gap smaller. As I said before, this is a crit heavy lineup. Make sure your camping abilities reflect in the most self-damage buffs possible. I used my campfires as an offensive tool rather than a defensive tool. I didn't use them to heal or heal stress damage. I used them just to get the buffs for the crits. You're going to need as much accuracy and crits as you need. The white cell stalks are going to be rather slippery with a dodge above 35, which means you're going to have to go under pretty high accuracy to ensure that you don't miss. The drawbacks of this would be teleporting too often. I know that sounds silly for an area that's going to teleport you often. However, I used my campfires offensively, which means I didn't save them for when I got teleported. I would have to rely on the jester and the vestal to heal all stress and physical damage, and that doesn't always work. The campfires would run out, and I was also probably going to run low on food at some point, so it really wasn't in my best interest for this to go outside of 8 to 10 fights, despite all the campfires and food I brought along. Also, as I said before, this lineup is heavily reliant on critical strikes. However, you should be able to do probably around 50% for both, meaning one person, the Hellion or the Leopard, is going to crit that turn. It should be 50-50, but the game is pure RNG and you'll never know. Obviously, favorably, it would crit for each of them every turn, but things happen and eventually statistics will kick in. I'm going to go over a few mistakes I made in this video. I didn't use all my campfire points in the first one because I'm so used to making prey that when I got down to 3 to 4, for some reason I just hit rest. I don't know why. I didn't even hit prey. I just mentally went out. You do not have to worry about ambushes in the darkest dungeon, which is nice, which means all your skill points can go to either buffing or de-stressing. In this case, it was almost all buffing. In the second campfire, I got it right. And going back to an earlier idea, when you're fighting the mammoth cyst, make sure you have a lot of medicinal herbs, because they'll put a debuff on you for 20% damage reduction, and you're not going to want that when you're going to be wanting to do your biggest crits. I was guilty and I didn't always take it off, and therefore that some of my crits were smaller than they should have been. I still won pretty easily, but it's something I should have kept track of more than I did. I would bring 12 medicinal herbs since the cyst can hit multiple people and you're going to fight multiple cysts. You at least have to fight 2. I got lucky and I got teleported halfway through one, so I fought like 1.5, but I still had to fight 2 anyway. Now I'm going to go over the white cell stalk mechanics. They go like this. The first turn they spawn or fight, there's 0% chance of you getting teleported, which is nice. It gives you 1 turn to kill it. However, after that, every turn adds a 7% chance onto its base chance of 4. Meaning the second turn it hits 11% chance. And sadly the first cyst area I got into, it got the 11% chance of teleported lead. Equally lucky, I actually got to skip the one mammoth cyst, as I said before. So instead of doing a couple more fights, I only had to do 2 fights, and I didn't have to fight another assist besides the final one. Kinda worked out in my favor, I liked it. And another minor tip is the gladiator I went through, and I believe the other one in the room, they're only within a block or 2 of the final area. Try to buff up your people as much as you can, like get to 3 or 4 round buffs, and hopefully at least 1 round of buffs will transfer into the next fight, into the main man assist. That will help you. You'll be 1 buff ahead. It might be enough to get rid of a white stealth stalk or an extra lucky crit. Who knows? I got dispatched through a room with 3 hounds after I was teleported, but lucky for me, I killed all 3 hounds relatively quickly without too many errors. I'm always nervous of hounds because there are chances to do critical abilities and their speed and stuff, but I got pretty lucky with the damage output I did, and I really didn't lose anything. However, from here, please refer back to the map. Now we're going to go to the right to this next room, and then we're going to head straight up, and then we're going to head right to the final boss room. The teleport really didn't screw me. I was looking at other parts of the map where it could have sent me, and it could have been awful. I can't promise that you'll get the same luck, that you'll be teleported so closely that it won't ruin your playthrough. I'm just letting you know I got pretty lucky. Your results may be different. Refer to the map by Mr.Bunnyban below, and that should be able to help guide you. I avoided fights where there was 4 people in the rooms, because 4 enemies in a room just gets extremely difficult. At best, try to always fight 3 enemies. I believe if you can burst down 1 or 2 from the start, the fight will be significantly easier. Even if it's against enemies you don't necessarily like fighting against or have bad experiences with, I would highly recommend sticking only to 3 enemies in a fight. Not always possible, but I recommend. The Templar Gladiator has a lot of dodge. However, we have so much accuracy and crits now, he's not going to be an issue. I can go full offensive against him, and I'll keep buffing with Battle Ballad to give myself some extra bonuses heading into the final fight. Obviously we miss with the Leper, it's to be expected. Lepers have pretty bad accuracy. And my Jester getting stunned was sadly annoying, however those crits keep going because I have such a high chance now due to all the buffs from the campfires and the Battle Ballads. As I state, I went crit heavy to end the Stalk almost every turn. It's like a 55, like 60% chance. It's high, and I just keep buffing with Battle Ballad. I keep giving more accuracy, more crits, because that thing's going to summon a new one every single time. I used a damage percent buff. Now you can see I'm hitting for 25 to 50. So when I crit that, it's going to be for a lot. I get a big crit there, and it sucks. However, that's why you bring plenty of antidotes for blight, because the blight damage is no joke. It hurts a lot. As you can see, a 54 crit along with that already having a 25% damage reduction. The Leper is a huge hitter and will be the reason why this thing dies. Also, another mistake I made here that I didn't even do throughout the rest of the fight here. Make sure you give your people all the holy water and stuff. Just try to deny that blight immediately. I didn't. It was a mistake. Also, make sure you debuff when you get the chance. Make sure you get those medicinal herbs on. I decided to go to the dot damage now. I think I could have benefited from just 1 more Battle Ballad. However, I believe at that point I had enough crits. It was going to be low enough that I could probably leave the Stalk alive for a second turn and not be too worried about it teleporting me away. As you can see, it reconstitutes, so it doesn't teleport me, which was very nice. If you get double teleported, that's just really bad luck. It's 1 in 100th chance if it happens on your second turn, because 10% times 10% is just 1. So I'd argue you have really bad luck if that happens to you. Not to say it can't. I was fortunate it didn't. I got to get rid of it. I do another crit. I forgot the medicinal debuff. I probably would have, no, I would have killed it. So just remember, make sure you medicinal debuff, you holy water up. Should save you a lot of patience. It should save you a lot of time and a lot of frustration. I finished off the man assists here because I figured even if I get teleported back, the next time I get into this room, it would be an easy kill. I go for the stun just to doubly make sure in case I miss, which I don't. So that's Darkest Dungeon level 3. I think it was one of the easiest and one of the easiest to prepare because you can decide which fights you want, and the only gimmick is to really get teleported. Thank you for watching. Watch my other videos on Darkest Dungeon.